What's up you guys, it's Aisling. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another beginners video. I've been kind of like on a roll of doing these. I did my beginners makeup kit, I did a beginners brush guide, and now today I'm doing a beginners eyeshadow look. So this is a two brush, yeah you heard it, two brush eyeshadow look. I'm going to be using these two brushes here. The first one is the 228 Luxe Crease brush from Zoeva and the second one is the E57 from Sigma. As a beginner, two brushes is plenty for the eyes. You can build up your collection as you go along and as your skills develop or as you feel more comfortable doing eyeshadow looks. But like I said, two for now. Perfect. I'm going to be using this eyeshadow palette in this video. Don't get overwhelmed with this. I know it looks crazy. There's so many shadows and so many looks that you could create with this. I'm also not using an eyeshadow primer because you don't need it, to be honest. I use concealer, it's just fine. I have an itchy back. But honestly, I find if you get a good eyeshadow palette, the eyeshadows should last throughout the day, and I find that these eyeshadows work really, really well. This palette is about €25. Again, it's a great palette to pick up. It's from Beauty Bay. You can also get the smaller ones that have like 9 shadows in it. Might be even better if you're just a beginner. So don't get overwhelmed with products. That's the main thing. Makeup is to be enjoyed and to be creative. But if you want to learn how to achieve a really basic beginner eye look, then just keep on watching. So to create any beginner eye look, you need 3 shadows. A light shadow, a mid-tone, and then a more defining deepening up shadow. So a light shadow is pretty simple. For most skin tones it would be something like one of these. They're your lightening shadows. The mid-tone shade, this is the shade that goes into the crease. I'll explain all about the crease in a mere moment, but the shade that goes into the crease, I would normally recommend it to be a neutral shade that would be similar to the nude that you would put on your lips. So something, if you're going for like a nude lip, what is the lip color that you would pick? That would be my mid-tone shade. For me, it would be something like one of these, or some of these shades, or that one there would be a great mid-tone shade for me. Don't get bogged down by this and the terms and anything like that. Just try and get a shade that is at least a shade or two darker than your natural skin tone. That would be the easiest way to do it as well, or the nude that you would put on your lips. For a defining shade, you want to go with something that's darker than the mid-tone shades, which would be, if you're using one of these 2 rows, any of these 2 rows. And don't get too worried about a defining shade. Just make sure it's darker than the shade you put in your crease. It'll be a bit clearer when I'm actually doing the tutorial. A deepening shade could be anything from black to a dark brown. So now that we have that down, your light, mid-tone and defining shade, you're good to go. And 3 shadows is all you need for any beginner makeup look. Whether you're doing a neutral look or a colourful look, 3 shades, good to go. So I'm going to start off with my mid-tone shade. So the mid-tone shade that I'm going to take is the one on the end. And I have discussed brushes in a previous video. I don't know if it's up yet, but if it is, I'll link it down below. I'm going to take a fluffy brush like this to apply my mid-tone shade. I find that I get more control with this and it disperses my eyeshadow much evenly and gives me a nice blend without packing too much intensity. So where you want to place your initial shade is through the crease. Everybody's crease is different. It's basically where the eye folds. You want to, if you like me, have a little bit of hooded eyes, you want to kind of bring that fold out to make your eyes look a bit more open. Anywhere from the eyelashes basically to the brow would be called your lid space. So you want to be going right into the crease. So this is easy to do if you just press your brush in there. You'll be able to feel that bone right there. That's where your crease would naturally be. Now you can bring your eyeshadow up. Like, eyeshadow's designed to be played with and makeup is designed to be creative. So you don't have to do this. It's not a formula, but just if you want to begin doing your eyeshadow, you want to go with the crease. So where your eye would naturally fold, and you can feel it with the brush there. So that's where you kind of want to sit your brush in. So I've just taken the lightest amount of that mid-tone shade. This is very important. You want to start from the outer corner so you can kind of feel with your brush where you're going. So you're applying your eyeshadow here and then you want to bring it through the crease. So the most of the eyeshadow will be on the outer corner. So you can see there is a little bit of extra product out there. This is what a blending brush is used for, to blend the product. So you can feel with your brush where your crease is. So you just want to go back and forth with the brush. What I like to do is I like to do rounded motions, so kind of like a swirling motion to get that product blending up through my crease as well. So just to make sure you've no harshness, you just want to keep blending out any of the shadow, and I'm just using as much as I initially applied with my brush. Honestly, you don't need that much shadow, so don't be going in with crazy amounts of shadow because you'll just find it really difficult to blend it out. So I just kind of blend through my crease And as you can see, the fold of my eye, where that fold is, I've gone just above that fold. And you just make sure that the edges are all really blended. So for any eyeshadow look, this is always the initial step that I do, and that's basically it blended. Whether I'm doing a neutral look, a green look, a blue look, a purple look, I will always take the mid-tone shade of the look that I'm going for and place it right through my crease. So no matter what look I'm doing, I always start with a mid-tone shade through the crease. Just makes blending and makes the eyeshadow look just look a little bit more polished. Next step is to pick the more defining, darkening shade. You can do 1 shade, or you can do 2, or you can do 3. It depends on what look you're going for. Because I'm doing a beginner look, I'm going to take 1 for this. So to build up the outer crease, you want to go with something that's obviously darker. I use this shade initially. So something that would be darker would even be this shade, or something like this. I am going to go in with this shade. I want something 2 or 3 shades darker. So what I do recommend is if you are going like at least 3 shades darker than your mid-tone shade, that you just go with something in between them just to build it up so that it doesn't look too sloppy. But I can do that in another video. And also this could be your defining shade if you have darker skin. So just implement the steps that I'm talking about to suit your own skin tone and obviously your own taste. So like I said, I'm going to take that shade that's just 2 shades darker. And again, I'm taking that same brush. I'm not packing up the brush. I am going to focus this more on the outer V of the eyes. If you take your brush from the corner of your nose all the way out to your eyebrow, that's where you want to be focusing it on the eye. So you can kind of see where that is there, the outer V, which would be out here. So I'm just going to apply that darker shade out here. And I'm just kind of stamping the brush on initially just to get that initial shadow down. You can see that there. And there's a tiny amount of the shadow on my outer V, and then I'm just going to do again those circular motions that I did before and bring it just a little bit through my crease, but focusing it more on the outer V of the eye, bringing it onto the lid and just keeping it lower than that initial mid-tone shade that I applied. So just little swirls on the eye should get it blended and get it moving. And again, little product is what you want to be applying, because that just means it's easier to do this look. You're not going to be left with a big sloppy mess of eyeshadow that you can't blend out. So again, keeping it lower than the mid-tone shade, all along the outer V on the lid, and just keep swirling it into there. I've nothing on this brush now because all the product's kind of on the lid, and I'm just kind of swiping over it and blending it again. So I'm going to bring it about that far onto the eyelid. So just when my brow starts to get a bit bigger, it's just the center of my eyelid, and I'm going to stop there. But this darker, more defining shade is located out in my outer V. And that's literally all you need to do. We were working with this brush up until now. Now I'm taking this brush. As you can see, it's a lot different to this one. This is rounded and fluffy, and this is flat. And that's exactly what we want to do when we're applying the light shade. So you want to take a matte shade. And for me, the matte light shade will be this one here. So there's very little room for error when you're using a lighter shade like this, because it's easier to blend it away than a darker shade. Pat it onto my lid, just in the inner corner. And I'm focusing it again below the crease, below that brown shade that I initially put, and keep it all on the inner third of my eye and then right into the inner tear duct. By placing this really light shade into the inner tear duct, it just opens up my eye and just makes my eye look a bit more awake. And if you did apply too much of the lighter shade through the crease, just go back in with your blending brush, make sure there's nothing on it, and just blend it out so that there's no harsh lines. Very, very simple. And then finally, you can take a shimmery light shade, again popping it into the inner corner, which will open it up even more, and just below the brow, which will give your brow a bit of a lift. If you do want to intensify the look and you want to create a bit more shadow on the lower lash line, you can still go in with that initial brush, take the very first shade that you used, that mid-tone shade, apply it to the brush, and what I usually do is I kind of squeeze the bristles so you can get right underneath the lower lash line, and then bring it from inner to outer. There are other brushes for this, but because we're only using 2 brushes for this look, this should be fine. And then obviously there's no product left on the brush now. You can blend out the lower lash line just to make sure it's not harsh. And again, if you want to intensify the outer crease further, take that same brush, go in with the darker shade that you used in the outer V, squeeze in the brush again, and just bring it in halfway. I always know halfway is for me because my little freckles right there, so that's halfway. And again, make sure there's no product on the brush. You can just blend that out so the bottom eyeshadow matches up with the top. So So thank you so much guys for watching that. I hope you enjoyed learning how to achieve a really simple basic eyeshadow look. If there's anything else you want to learn how to create, I'm not saying I'm the master. If you want to know how to do like a more smoky eye look, or you want to create like a cut crease, or if you want to know how to do a halo eyeshadow look, just let me know what looks you would like to do. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy it, thumbs it up, and I will talk to you all in my next one. Mwah. Bye guys.